Hey there. Guess what I'm grinding frequencies. This is what Nathan did yesterday. There's coconut. We got a coconut tree out front. He came up to me yesterday afternoon and he said, "Hey, where's Kaika?" Kaika's a native islander, and I said, "We got a tree." I said, "There's a mountain of coconuts up there." "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, did you see that? If you've never seen this before, I'll just see if I can describe the image to you, so that you can record the image in your own mind. How maps work about what we see on the visible light spectrum in the mirror, right? This, by the way, when you think of food density networks, you know what a network is, right? A network engineer running on frequencies and vibration, right? The radio frequencies, right? This is my favorite, one of my favorite, this actually is my favorite fruit. Okay, it's coconuts. When I was a kid growing up, sadly, because you know that sugar is a waste product of metabolites, right? Metabol, the basic beza ba sa el, the basal metabolic rate. Remember, I shared with you all what I did back in the early 2000s with that. Because we go back to all the labels, right? I'm a doctor, a DR and a period, a D and then an R, or a pH, like in phone, like pH, potential of hydrogen. The big P, then a small h, and then a period, right? A circle, a black circle. Or you can use whatever color you want. Use the color, say, orange, an orange P, and then a green H, small caps, right? And then say, a turquoise dot, right? Now you can make it whatever size you want. Instead of making it so that you can just see it, make it a bigger dot. Make it a dot that's, say, 3/16 of an inch in diameter, right? And then next to that, or you can use a space, if you're the author of your own text, and then put a B, capital D, or you can make it a D instead of going to the right, make it to the left. You know what I mean? A D wave, right? When the D, which is a vertical line, and then it's got the half of the circle, right? Which is hemisphere, right? The right hemisphere. So if you cut yourself in half on the vertical line, the vertical rod, right? Going straight up and down, the vertical, otherwise known as a vertical plume, right? What I call the snow cone, fire and ice. So the vertical line, going vertical, we're going vertical. Ask a football player means when we're running vertical. Trying to chase the H post, between two other vertical lines and one cross section. All right. The cross section of a tetrahedron. So here we have, if you will, how the H works, the hydrogen. So we have here an interference pattern that this AI decided to run so that it can change the direction of my thought patterns, because that's what it does when you get into burn patterns, right, of electrified sound and real living light, and not a dead light magnet communicating with us trying to run interference patterns, because it runs bad math. The dead light magnet that we're using through the communication system is running bad math. The math doesn't work in order to experience the center point of an eternal sun, because the dead light magnet has no future. Right? Again, how many souls you want to keep throwing into a dead light magnet in order to keep it running? And there was a decision to allow that to happen. Okay? It's called sacrificing souls for the benefit of the whole. Remember I told you a story about Patty Broussard, what she was willing to do? Remember the song Black Magic Woman? Sacrificing souls? Right? In order to do what? Save the children. Save the future. Save the future for our children's souls. So that we have a future. Okay? For this universal and galactic template. Because once you've got a universal template, a galactic template, a codex, seeded races running on codes, running on frequencies, right? And they no longer have a communication, a way to communicate with the founders. Now, they're not going to lose anything that we didn't already start with, that we built. But it simply means it's going to take time before you experience what love is again. Particularly if you've lost your memory. Right? That would be an altar. Right? A crystal shattered piece. A piece of consciousness that is not experiencing light anymore. Right? So now you're back to smoke and mirrors. And dead spirits. Which is a dead spirit and a dead light. Magnet. As a result of free will. It's amazing that you can even experience anything like that, isn't it? That's why some folks do not vote for free will. Okay? Because when you allow a unit of energy that is conscious and aware of itself to do the things that we become aware of as a result of what they are in energy, we experience spirits of torture. So in order to maintain free will, which is a free spirit, so that spirit that is free, that is in that light as a sacred temple of light, which is what love is to go on forever, free will comes natural to a free spirit that has experienced the eternal spirit of fire. Now it's free to create whatever it wants, because the energy that it's using to create it, right, what it experiences, is going to be what love is. So that means that a free spirit that is experiencing the eternal spirit of fire, that is free to create, is going to experience what it does create out of the energy that represents what it is in spirit, with the soul, which is what love is. Right? Yeah. So coconut, the frequency of coconut, see, it's white. And so when I was a kid growing up, the waste product of metabolism, when you get into the sugar side of things, I was eating up, remember the Mounds bars? It was the coconut. I used to buy bags of coconut. You know, you can buy shredded coconut in bags. But sadly, they sugarize it, right? So they want you running an acid battery. So that you're not running an alkaline battery. Burn your bulb out. Right? Go after 21. 21st chromosome. 3. Right? 03. And so, what was the purpose of this video? Coconut. And Aurora. And on how map reads affect us. And I'll share this with you what happened. In my window, right, I saw Aurora. Rainbow lasagna. Aurora rainbow lasagna. And I know she was living in Ojai. So I know, as I mentioned to her the other day, in this book right here, the town called Ojai is mentioned in that book, specifically as it relates to the spirit of fire. Most powerful magic, spirit of fire. That's a volcano, right? Vortex. Spin that light, baby. And so here I had seen her, and she was in like a studio. Right? And this is how you know your map reading the right maps. which would be the sound and light of creation, right? Based on the lines of communication we're experiencing in our mirror, the map read is being presented to us. Now I'm experiencing the map, which is represented by the color codes and the frequency and the vibration upon which that map has been presented, which is her map, which is her template. So when she came on with her little video, okay, I'm now map reading her map, right? Caused me to cry. That's one way you know my heart and soul was crying, because I'm experiencing the template and the map that she runs. Okay? And you want to know what I was looking at besides her own map? Was what she was wearing. That's an artist. She's an original sound magician. That's right. And maybe one of these days I'll do a video on how that relates to the law of attraction. I'm not going to go into that on this video because I wanted to keep this one short. Because I can certainly, because I've been down so many rabbit holes on this stuff, particularly when it comes to species replication, when it comes to software development, when it comes to replicating software, right? Software codes, frequency codes, map codes, key codes, access codes, gateways, like gateway computers, like Dell. But anyway, how that relates to what we call presentations. Presentations of maps. Maps that are related to vibration and frequencies of the map itself that we're experiencing and recording in our own magnetic recorder. What's held in memory based on what we're mapping and whether the math works between sound and light geography, the geometrics, the topo maps, the Tara. Right? And so you can see how this works, particularly with males and phosphorus, the elemental of phosphorus, how that relates to sexual reproduction energy, and how that relates to negative and positive magnetic polarity, how that relates to cold infusion, hot fission that become one, right? So I knew, for example, when I was growing up as a kid, when a girl's presenting herself, she's presenting a map, which is a template, which is a temple that she's running, right? So girls would present themselves, particularly if you begin to see how this was working over time, what's called time and duration of the changes we experience in our mirror, the changes that are taking place in that mirror over time and date stamps. Like, for example, when my mother grew up in the early 1920s, girls wore what? Long skirts. And you notice they got shortened over time. So they kept getting shorter. And then by the time I came around, I began to realize they were called mini skirts. You know, and spiked heels, right? And then my uncle, one of my uncles, what's his name? Wallace B. Carruthers, polymers, right? Nylons. Girls wearing nylon synthetics. So I was recognizing who the synthetics were, right? Hey, you're plastic. So we had names for this stuff. Hey, you're plastic. Right? Synthetic biology. And so this is when you get into the polymer side of things, right? And codes and catalysts and resin. Goo cubes. And so as it comes to the law of attraction, you realize that a girl can put things on, which is going to present a map, which is a map of the operator of the vehicle. So if a girl's wearing a mini skirt, right, and she's got long legs and wears a pair of heels wearing silk stockings, right? Whoa. You know what this girl's looking for, right? Right? Yeah. So you're reading the map of the operator. So when you get into reproduction and breeding programs, breeding codes, code transfers, right? You see how that works? The law of attraction, which are called magnets. You know, magnetics. Exchange of codes between magnets. Now you're back into the negative and the positive magnetic polarity bloodlines. the genetics, the genetic codes, the code transfers, right, of what we experience in the future as a result therein, right, of breeding, right, the lab, the mitochondria lab, right, and so you begin to see how this sort of works with burn patterns, sounding like burn patterns, see? So in other words, I can experience the map that she generated by virtue of what she's presenting to me that I experience, and I cry because I know what I'm reading. I'm experiencing an original sound artist, sound and light artist. Raw, rays, rainbow, round circles of light, color codes. The sound frequencies and color codes what we experience through the light by the presenter, by the presentation of the consciousness that is represented by the soul that is arcing rainbows, right? So thank you for the cry. So yeah, I can certainly cut a video if you want to get into all the sexual energy stuff, trauma, sexual torture, what they do to children. I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go down these rabbit holes, right? When it comes to elements, when it comes to codes, when it comes to instruction sets, when it comes to reading maps, when it comes to making a map, generating a map, antennas, cosmic level antennas, spirits, and how software development occurs, if you will, over time and space, vectors, complex number space, fire circles, fire sea, the polarity drama, right? And ultimately biogenesis, right? Fixing the codes, the repairs, right? Particularly when it's related to time. How much time do we have? Right? Forever. Yeah, temporary space, temporary memory. Load it into memory. Delete, uninstall. Burn it off. No, I think I'll keep that in memory. It's got future value for the reason that we're here, in order to be able to communicate in a language that we allow to be loaded, because that's the language they speak. That's not the language we speak. But since it's the English translation that we use, that others can experience the method of the communication by virtue of sharing with them why we're all here together. On behalf of the Guardian Alliance, the founders, the first son, eternal love, eternal spirit of fire. So anyway, thank you for the coconut, Nathan. I love coconut. Yeah. It's good for you. Coconut water? Oh, yeah. Good stuff, Maynard. Remember who Maynard was? Ma and Yard. Unload 3 yards of cement. How much energy is being used to generate concrete? Plasma field generators. Starseed generators. Star generators. Generating new stars. Right? Have a great day. We love you all. Be good to yourselves.